Hey, Thomas Westbrook here. As we speak, there are 13 countries around the world where if you leave your faith, if you become an apostate, the punishment for atheism is death. And that's not even counting all of the less severe punishments for apostasy, or the countries including Western ones that have punishments for blasphemy. Such a victimless crime. And this type of craziness isn't just happening in far out places around the world. I get emails from people who tell me that their spouse left them when they became an atheist, and now they're fighting a custody battle for their kids. I get emails from kids saying that their parents have disowned them or are shunning them. I have emails from people who tell me that their boss fired them. I've met and had conversations with people all over the US who face tremendous blowback. Coming out as an atheist isn't easy. So why do it at all? By coming out and speaking up, we're able to help normalize atheism and change people's perceptions of us and fight the negative stereotypes that are painted by religious fundamentalists against atheists. And yet, a lot of times people ask me, how do I come out as an atheist? I'm worried about the blowback that I'll face. So yesterday, I went on a podcast called Common Heathens with Mr. Oz Atheist and Godless Mom to talk about just that. So make sure that you go and you check that out right after you watch this video. But right now, I'm covering the top 5 mistakes that people make when coming out as an atheist. Number 1, dropping the bomb cold turkey. People can tend to be a little hesitant to new ideas, and they can be resistant to change. Rather than throwing cold water in their face by just straight up coming out and saying that you're an atheist, do it in steps. Take your time, warm them up to it. In psychology, there's a term called priming, in which, let's say for example, you want to go and have a steak dinner tonight, but your significant other is wanting seafood. You might throughout the day say, oh hey, like we haven't eaten at that steak food place in a while. Steak food. You point to that, she kind of, okay, like she's not really, warming up to it yet, but then later in the day you're like, hey, I'm really craving a good juicy steak. And if you do this a couple times throughout the day, and then when she asks you what you want for dinner, when you say steak, it's not as abrupt of a shock as if you just straight up say, I want steak, and she's like, hey, no, I'll put the brakes on, don't really want steak. Flirt with the idea. Take something like atheism and break it down and warm up to it gradually, and then, see how they react. Number 2, going straight from religious fundamentalist to atheist overnight. This kind of goes hand in hand with number 1, but it's more about going in steps. So rather than warming someone up to an idea of, your disbelief and where you are, maybe you've been an atheist for a long time, you're not really religious, you're not involved in your church. The second step more applies to people who are pastors, or they're actively involved in their church band, or they're a missionary. Ease your way away from it, ease your way out of it. If you go from deist to agnostic atheist, there's going to be a lot less blowback and a lot less shock than if you go from religious fundamentalist to atheist. Take the time that you need to slowly distance yourself from the faith, and then people won't be as adverse to you finally making that decision from maybe there's a God to I don't think that there is. Number 3, arguing and insulting. Remember, if you're watching this, probably not too long ago you were religious too. Religious people aren't stupid. Just because they've been raised and ingrained with some religious concepts and maybe they have an emotional connection to it, doesn't mean that they're idiots. Treat them with respect and you'll get a lot more respect in return. Make it less about butting heads over a disagreement in an argument and more about a quest for truth that you're on a journey together. It's about teamwork, because if something's true, it withstands scrutiny. So just let that be known that, you're trying to go wherever the truth leads. And then they'll be less hostile about it. They'll be more on board with the idea that maybe your quest led you to a bit of a different destination than theirs did. But if you come out of the cage swinging, you're just gonna get a backfire effect. No matter how many facts you present, no matter how good you are at arguing, they're still gonna feel like it's me versus you, and there's gonna be an equal opposite reaction. They may even wind up more solidified in their beliefs afterwards. Don't make it a win or lose environment, because you're probably not gonna change their mind, and they may just come away even more hostile than before. Number 4, coming out alone. When you come out as an atheist, you can face a lot of blowback, but you don't have to do this alone. Build up some type of a safety net. It doesn't even necessarily have to be other atheists. In fact, I had Catholic friends who were incredibly supportive and loving. I had friends who were gay, who were also religious, who knew what it was like to come out of the closet and face shunning and rejection. And they were extremely open and supportive and loving towards me. But there are atheist communities that you can join, whether it's on Reddit or Facebook or Twitter or anywhere on the internet or in person. Find a support group. You don't even have to use your real identity, but it really, really helps emotionally, psychologically, if you don't have to face this alone. And you don't have to face it alone. Number 5, cutting off your parachute. If you're still financially dependent on your parents or spouse, or if you're living in a country where it's physically dangerous for you to come out as an atheist, hold off. Wait until you're somewhere where you're financially stable or secure, or you have someone that you can go and live with and stay with who's not going to throw you under the bus. Maybe move to a country, if you can, where your life isn't in danger. Because coming out as an atheist is already a massive upheaval of your worldview. It can take time to deal with your new take on the world. Don't also throw into it the burden of having to figure out your financial situation because you've been completely cut off by family members. Take your time, ease into it, and when you're ready and you're financially secure, that may be the right time for you to come out as an atheist. Ultimately though, this comes down to you. These are just general tips and they don't necessarily apply to everyone in every single scenario. And obviously, you know your situation better than anyone. But hopefully, these tips will help you to avoid some of the negative blowback that a lot of people face just by being a little less hostile, taking your time, warming people up, creating a supportive social circle, coming out in steps, and having some financial security there so you aren't thrown out in the cold. I really hope this has been helpful for you. This has been 5 mistakes that people make when coming out of the atheist closet. If you want a more in-depth discussion of how to come out as an atheist, check out the video of me on the Common Heathens podcast with Godless Mom and Mr. Oz Atheist. I'll have the links for that in the description. Subscribe to their channel and let them know that I sent you. And whatever you do, don't drink the Kool-Aid. If you believe in my cause and you want to help support my work promoting science, curiosity, and free thought, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/holykoolaid. Even just $1 helps me to continue making these videos. If you're one of my supporters on Patreon, thank you. You guys are amazing. I can't make these videos without your support and your help, and it means so much to me. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button. I really hope you like the rest of my content. Feel free to like and share. You guys rock so much, and together, we're making a difference.